How important are your partner's political views you? Is it a deal breaker if they don't align with your own? Extremely important. I can't be with someone who doesn't share my values. For example, when COVID hit, my spouse and I were 100 on the same page about how we would handle our safety, masks, vaccines etc., even though we had never discussed what we do in a global pandemic. But we agreed because we shared values. I watched many of my friends' marriages struggle because the pandemic revealed their ideological differences. Politics are not theoretical. They affect your life in ways you can never anticipate. I think it depends on what. We don't discuss politics and I don't know what my husband votes. But we have similar values in terms of childcare, elderly care, schools etc., so I imagine that we pretty much vote the same. If he was on the total opposite side of the spectrum, politically, we wouldn't agree on what areas need the most funds. Yes, because if they don't align with mine they will be literally voting laws into place that directly hurt me and my friends. It doesn't matter if you say I'm one of the good disabled people, if you're trying to cut social services for other disabled people you are hurting me and my community and I refuse to ignore that. I don't think it's important unless it begins to affect the relationship. Of course if they have far left or far right views it would likely be an issue. No use trying to argue or change their mind. It won't happen. But for the vast majority of people, I'm happy to respect their views if they're happy to respect mine. They don't have to align on economic issues but social issues they need to be pretty damn close. Complete alignment would make for boring debate, but if my partner started expressing opinions diametrically opposed to mine on issues involving personal freedom of others then that partner would quickly become an ex. I would absolutely never date anyone who would vote for Trump. His rhetoric is nearly indistinguishable from Hitler's. As someone of Jewish descent, dating someone who would vote for him is tantamount to suicide. You don't have to agree on every single issue, but you have to share a similar worldview and set of values. I assume there are couples who can be together regardless, but I can't imagine my significant other would see the world in a completely different light than me. No, you know why? Because I am 40 and we didn't give a shit about your political association growing up. You knew some on all sides but none of us cared. I could care less if my wife told me she was voting for Biden. I'd probably laugh at her but that's about it. Politics are an expression of our basic values. The personal is political. I can't be in a relationship with someone who has fundamentally different values than I do. We can disagree on pizza toppings, not on whether basic human rights apply to all humans. If their values are radically different, and my perception is that they came by their platform from logic and reasoning, as opposed to indoctrination or emotion, I can be with them. I would expect spirited debate and X-ray arguments in the relationship. Moderately important. They don't have to align 100. But we can't be complete opposites. We have to have a similar way to see the world and how we think things should work. And I don't date with extremists. On either side of the political spectrum. I am super conservative, but not the religious kind, the small government kind. My fiancé was very liberal. When she turned 30, she wanted a house, babies, lower taxes, a gun, and thinks killing babies is bad. Kinda weird how that works. I'm quite apolitical, but I still have some political views. The partner's views would need to be relatively similar, not 100 the same, but if they aren't, then yes, it can be a deal breaker for me. I would like to answer this, but everyone else is so much more eloquent in what I was about to say. There's no way politics is never going to affect your love life. It's very important to me. Like, I'm black. I don't need a conservative partner that wants to move backwards politically considering, you know, how the past was. Politics have bled too far into social issues. I could handle the old financial conservatives. But not a conservative who holds their current views. Not identical is fine, but diametrically aligned would be a problem. I tend to chaotic neutral. My partner is lawful good. They would never make it to becoming my partner if they were right-wing. I simply don't want assholes for children. They don't need to entirely align, but if we're going to raise a family we at least need to be in the same ballpark. It can work. My girlfriend is Chinese and rather proud of CCP politics. I am not. But we do not fight, winking face. We don't see eye to eye on politics so we don't talk about it. We've been married for 17 years. My parents have been married 53 years and they had opposite political views until Jan 6th. I don't think you can have a long-term relationship with someone who has different values. Our economic politics can be fairly different but our social politics need to be similar. Frankly, I've never really discussed politics with her and I'm not interested in starting. Not because I live in Australia and it's all the same nonsense.